Rosetta is almost here. It's almost the weekend. It's almost release day. I cannot wait for this set to come out. I am floored with it. I've been enamored with it ever since spoiler season, and it was even more fun to play. And I think it's going to do some major things to shake up the game and the metagame within the classic constructed space. So I want to share with you a couple of heroes that have my eye right now as we go into a brand new meta thanks to both Rosetta and the massive bans that came down recently. Starting with the hero that in my mind has moved the farthest up the rungs, the tier list if you will. This, by the way, is not a tier list video. If you want a tier list video, leave a comment down below saying tier list video. You can put more words than that, but feel free to leave that comment and I will probably make one if enough people want it. But the one that to me has climbed the most is none other than Vinet. I mean, it's super hard not to argue that any hero has gone, nuclear more than she has. She has gained so much from this set that honestly, it's terrifying how many people are playing her and the things that she can do in games now. Her ability to just cycle from one large attack to another thanks to all of the new auras and the new rune chant generators and the consistency that she's gained from not just playing, from her hand and banishing rune gate cards and then playing them that way, but also just finding rune gate cards off the top, digging through her deck, playing out the normal game plan of sending things like crazy, but the tools that she's gained both in this set from the Runeblade side of things and some expansion slot cards as they've added from time to time has really made her absolutely terrifying to play against. She can put so much damage down on the board that almost no deck at this point can really rival her speed. There's a lot of people who are like, yeah, but she's inconsistent because you have to lose a card still. Yeah, she's prone to disruption. Or yeah, in the late game when she's at low life totals, she can still kind of crumble under the weight of her own hero effect. And I say, look, if she didn't have the hero text that she has right now, she would be S tier already. Like literally she is holding her own self in place at the strong A tier in my opinion. Like she's already so incredibly powerful with the inclusion of the cards from this set that saying she's a little inconsistent is almost a good thing because without it she would be breaking people in half. She's that good now, which is exciting because she's a hero that's pretty near and dear to my heart. Getting to kind of spoil her in a way and reveal this art to the world was really exciting for me. And I played a whole heck of a lot of her when she wasn't very good, which seems to happen a lot. I do that with Riptide and now my main man Aelia over there. It happens, but eventually their time in the sun comes. And right now that is Vinet's time. But I don't think it's only her time because a lot of people have talked about KO. KO has been one of those decks that has sort of revisited this go around now that Zen has stepped out of the limelight thanks to the ban. Perhaps not so far out of the limelight that he doesn't exist anymore, but to the point now where he's a far more reasonable deck in the meta. As an aggro deck, KO kind of steps into the place that Zen left. Not to the same shoes. He's not filling the same shoes of being the best deck in format S tier type thing, but he could be. He could be very close to being the best deck in format because he has a lot of tools at his disposal. And it's interesting because he was powerful, and we all knew this coming out of heavy hitters. And he literally just took a back seat to specifically Zen. In that format, just Zen was not very comfortable. He took a backseat to a couple of other heroes as well, and there were a lot more even matchups that kind of pushed him down. But keep in mind that he continued to perform through Nationals seasons fairly well, and we even saw him in the finals of US Nationals doing work. And so even through the sort of spike of Zen, he was fairly successful, fairly consistently at top tables. And I think with Zen stepping back, he continues his Reign of Terror as one of the best heroes in the format. So I have my eye on Zen not Zen. No, I don't have my eye on Zen right now. I have my eye on KO to take steps forward now that Zen has ceded control of that S tier. And alongside of KO, a lot of players are talking about Enigma. Now, I will say this. I have Enigma on my watch list of heroes, but not necessarily because I believe she becomes the best deck in format. There's a lot of players that are saying that. There's a lot of other content out there that's kind of putting her at the best deck in format moniker, and I don't really buy it. But I do think a lot of players are going to take her out and take her for a spin. It'll be interesting to see if she really does usurp the mantle, if you will, of the best deck in format, being that she doesn't have to deal with her worst, basically 90-10 matchup of Zen. That being said, I feel like Runeblades come in and step up to the plate to send arcane damage in small chunks that just makes it incredibly difficult for her to efficiently stop attacks when they can fire rune chant after rune chant. And she's going to have to bring tools to slow that down, change the deck builds to really kind of pivot a lot and find ways to make up points in those matchups, play more efficient, like big attacks, just kind of go that sort of efficiency soup that a lot of people are trying with some of the newer heroes right now. I feel like she can take those same steps and then just play on the axis of maybe doing a little bit of king making with her auras here and there. But it'll be interesting to see how her deck build changes, because I don't think we're going to see just the pure ward auras onto the board, just vomit them all out and win the game via that, because I just think there's going to be too many rune chants flying with a lot of these heroes. And one of those heroes that could be throwing them, and it's one that I think a lot of players are trying right now, and that's Florian. A lot of players are really jumping on the Florian bandwagon. And the crazy thing about Florian is you can build him in a bunch of different ways. So you can play the Florian OTK list and you can try to just build up rune chant after rune chant, but I feel like he's gonna be one of those heroes that's just fine playing really, really freaking good Runeblade cards. Because keep in mind, not only did they have this set's worth of powerful cards to tap into, but you can go back to the time of yesteryears, the sets from far before when Runeblade was first dominating the meta, and you can harvest those old cards and then replant them and grow them in this deck. And Florian will make them blossom, even though he's the harbinger of Rotwood. They work just as well in his deck build. You're gonna see a lot of Florian, I think, at top tables, and I think you're gonna see a lot of Florian at a lot of tournaments. A lot of players are really jumping on his bandwagon, and for a good reason, because he can play a lot of different ways. That being said, the one hero that really made me pause and wonder how good they're gonna be in this meta is Aelia. Because to me, Aelia feels like in perhaps the best position she's been in all year if the meta breaks the right way. Because she, unlike all of these other heroes that are trying to play like this efficient mid-range game plan, can come at you with disruption, damage, and evasion in a way that no other hero can. And I really wonder if this is her follow-up moment to what we were seeing in that heavy hitter season, where she was becoming so successful and fairly prevalent across the meta, where her on-hit effects and her dominate attacks and all of these things that just made her kit so good, if those start to rise to the fore again. Because if she has the opening in the meta that she had in heavy hitters, and it does not get cut down by the likes of an even more aggressive deck like Zen, that just basically says, I don't really care about what you're doing, you're gonna have to chain like red in the ledgers, otherwise I'm just gonna win the game. If that's not the case, then I think she's in an incredibly good spot. Now, there's a couple of heroes that you don't see on this list. First of all, you're gonna notice that there's the other three heroes from the brand new set Rosetta I did not put on this list. Remember, this is not a tier list. Again, if you want that sort of thing, leave a comment down below. It's not to say that those heroes are strictly worse, that they are bad heroes, but to me, after playing all of them fairly extensively, I'm no expert, but after playing them a good bit each, specifically after playing that guy a lot, played a lot of Aelia, I do think the heroes have specific consistency or gaps within their play style, within their perhaps their kits, or within how they are built to actually run out into the meta, that do keep them from just immediately breaking things in half. And I think that, for one, is a very good thing. I prefer heroes that do what they did in heavy hitters, where they come out and they're just good. Like we were talking about KO, and he was very, very good. And then you saw Kasai was pretty decent in the meta, pretty solid. And Victor, pretty solid in the meta, both doing quite well without just breaking things in half. KO was the only sticking point. I think that the heroes that we see in Rosetta are similar to that same setup. And I would also point out that this hero right here is going to be good when the Armory deck comes out. And it's hilarious to me because we know some of the cards in the Armory deck already, and they've already kind of like made their rounds in testing circles, that people are just on Dash.io right now, just playing the cards that are like not out for a month. Which is hilarious. And everyone's testing these new cards, and they're stupidly good. They are incredibly good, exceedingly good. She becomes the best aggro deck in the format when she gets access to those. And honestly, you could probably argue that just good players on the deck right now in this current meta can do really powerful things and do very well in major tournaments already. And so if you're looking at a bunch of these heroes and going, who should I play in this meta? Figure out what your play style is. Are you looking for a more mid-range kind of game plan? Think about heroes like Florian, maybe Enigma if you want to play the more back and forth game plan. Or if you want to play controlling, you can look at Enigma as well. You can look at mid-range aggression in the forms of KO. You can look at pure aggression in Vinet, aggression with evasion and disruption in Aelia. And then, of course, Dash.io is going to really just hit the ground running, if you will, when her Armory deck releases. So I am hyped to see what Rosetta does for these heroes, to see how this new meta evolves around the set of Rosetta. I can't wait to meet up with everyone at the next major event and talk about how these heroes are really just spiking out of nowhere. And I hope I'm wrong about a few of these Rosetta heroes and that we see some of them do some crazy, crazy things. If you like this video, make the number above me go slightly higher. Why? Because one of my major goals when I started this YouTube channel was finally hitting 21,697 subscribers. Yes, that is one of the biggest milestones and goals I've ever had. 21,697 subscribers. So whoever presses the next red button will become the fabled 21,697th subscriber. That's probably how you say that. As always, thanks for watching.